Good evening, my name is Rabbi Klein. I'm with the Vada Kashas of Dallas. This year, due to the coronavirus, I'm not going to have my original plans of going to a hotel for Pesach. I usually work. For the last 12 years, I've been to hotels, and it's been a long time since I've had to kasher my own kitchen. And since a lot of you are asking what to do and how to do it, and there are first-timers out there as well, I decided to go through a mock kashuring of my own kitchen to show you what I will do in my own kitchen, and this way you should know what to do for Pesach. Before we start kashuring, a brief introduction. People confuse cleaning and kashuring. In order for something to be kashered, in one of the many ways of kashuring, it has to first be clean. Everything has to be spotlessly, perfectly clean. My kitchen is clean. I don't have a dirty kitchen. Look around. This is a nice, clean kitchen. But it's not kashuring clean. It's not ready to be clean for Pesach. And when people tell you it has to be clean and clean better, sometimes people get insulted. Oy, my house isn't clean. What do you think? I live in a dirty kitchen. My kitchen is clean. It's not dirty or clean. This is kashuring clean is something else entirely. Everything has to be scrubbed, clean. The nooks, crevices, crannies. You have to scrape it with pointy things and scrapers and steel wool and Brillo and chemicals and everything at your disposal to make sure everything is perfectly clean of any residue. After everything is clean, it still has to sit 24 hours before you can kasher. This is going to be true for everything we kasher. Counters, sinks, pots, pans, silverware, bechers, everything that we're going to kasher has to have sat for 24 hours. The only exception is a self-clean oven. You can self-clean an oven even if it was used prior to the 24 hours. But otherwise, everything has to sit for 24 hours. I'm not going to keep repeating that as we get to every item we kasher. And again, I can't emphasize enough the importance of safety. You have to be careful. If you're kashering, you're using boiling water, using hot things, there's ovens, you're bringing things to very high temperatures. Most important thing is your safety. So please take care. Use the hot water carefully, the hot pots carefully. There shouldn't be kids running around over here. We should be careful. You should make sure the floor is dry. Put on shoes. Make sure to not wear flip-flops. Make sure you wear a good closed shoes with a good rubber sole, so you shouldn't slip chas v'shalom on the floor, and then that'll be a whole other problem. Okay, let's begin. We're going to start with the sink because you can't put anything that's kashered. You have no place to put it, no counters to put it until you have the sink kasher. So the first thing in kasher is the sink, then I'm going to kasher counters, and then I'm going to start kashering some of the other items that we have, the pots and the silverware and the bechers, etc. First thing, the sink. The sink always looks clean. You're always cleaning things in the sink. People think the sink is always clean, and it's not always so. Special attention has to be given to areas around the faucets, around the fixtures, because a lot of times this is dirty undersides of spigots and faucets. The aerator here, if it comes off, mine actually doesn't. I don't know how to take it off. These should be taken off, and preferably new ones purchased for Pesach. The sprayer. People think there's nothing wrong with the sprayer, but first of all, the sprayer has a plastic hose, and a plastic hose shouldn't be kashered. Most people would say this shouldn't be kashered, and therefore I wouldn't use it. If you had a metal hose, then the hose could actually be kashered, and you would pour boiling water, and I'll show you how to do that when I start pouring water into the sink. If you're not going to kasher your sprayer, you definitely should wrap it in foil or plastic and put on some tape and say do not use. Check the sink that it's clean. Special attention needs to be given to the undersides of the granite here. This is an under-the-counter mounted sink, and down here there's many times you'll find schmutz down here. This was cleaned already, but very often you'll find dirt here that care has to be taken to make sure this is clean. Sink baskets. Sink baskets, whether they're plastic or they're metal or rubber, should not be kashered. You should buy new ones. It's maybe $5 at Target. They're standard sizes, and you shouldn't have any problem finding a new one for Pesach. Check the drain to make sure that it's clean, because this area here often is very dirty. If you look here, this is not very clean, and this is not dirty. This doesn't just come right off, but this will have to be scrubbed with some Brillo or some steel wool to make sure this is clean. When you're kashuring the sink, when you're kashuring with irui kli rishon, with pouring of boiling water, the most important thing is, the number one most important thing to know is it's dangerous. The water is boiling hot, literally. It's going to be bubbling, boiling hot. It's going to be 212 degrees. You have to respect the boiling water. The most important thing is not to hurt yourself. I've seen many cases of mashgichim kashuring at hotels that have gone to the hospital, including my own son has kashuring and he had to go to the hospital, and it's very dangerous. You need to be careful. What we're going to do now is safe, and it shouldn't have any trouble, but you need to respect the boiling water. A point to note about the boiling water, irui kli rishon, is kashuring is affected at point of impact. So some people just take a pot of water and they kind of like throw it, and everything gets nice and wet, and they think they've successfully kashured what they were trying to kasher. That's not the case. You can't just throw water, you have to have a controlled pour on the area that you're pouring, and that area is kasher. You have maybe the spot that it was poured, maybe an inch on both sides, so maybe you get 3 inches or maybe 4 inches, maybe max, on a pour. So you have to very carefully control your pour and make sure that the whole area is getting poured. Another thing to note is that the area that you're pouring should be dry. And since it should be dry, there's different opinions about this. My opinion is because it should be dry, you should start from the bottom of the sink and you should work your way up. So a sink like this will have 3 passes. One will be on the bottom, you'll go this way, then you go up and you come across, and then you come up again towards the top. 3 passes, about 3 inches each one. In order that the water should be pouring on dry area. Also, the bottom of the sink, the most important part of the sink, when you kasher the sink, you should start in the center and you should work your way outwards, concentric circles, ever growing concentric circles. This way, you're actually hitting the bottom of the sink with the actual pouring boiling water. Okay, as you saw here, we have kettles. I am very against people trying to use pots because I think people get hurt that way. Even tea kettles are not as effective. An electric kettle is like $15 on Amazon. I would say you'll get it tomorrow, but now you're probably going to get it in a month. But they sell it at Walmart and Target, $15, $20. I have like 10 of these, and I'm happy to lend them if anybody needs to borrow them. You'll let me know, and we'll try to let everyone who needs them to borrow them. So I want to make sure the water is boiling. I'm going to turn it on, and it turns right off because the water is fully boiled. All right, we're going to start with this kashuring in the center, circles, then we're going to work our way up the sides. Middle and circles. Okay, that's the bottom. Wait for the smoke to clear. And then we're going to work our way on the bottom, work our way up. It's 1, 2, 3. We're going to use the same on this side. 1, 2, 3. So one kettle, you'll probably take 2 kettles to kasher a sink. Point to note that the first wall that you kasher should be with a full kettle. Let me take that back. When you kasher this wall, the inner wall, it should be with a full kettle, because a kettle isn't full. Trying to pour on this wall here with a half-empty kettle is not very effective and also might be dangerous. So when you're pouring on this inner wall, that should be with a full new kettle. Then you also have to kasher the faucets, and just irui kli rishon will work for here as well. And then if you have a metal sprayer and a faucet, the same thing. You're going to pour the irui kli rishon across the hose, and then you do the same thing for the actual sprayer. Okay? This is only true if you have a metal hose and you have a metal sprayer. Then and only then you could kasher these things. Now, of course, you have to double check. This here, we're not really kashering now, but you can see here, there's little stuff over there and stuff over here, right? These things, even though they're kind of clean, it's being used to clean things all the time. Little things are always there. All that must be cleaned before kashering. And finally, the actual spout needs to get kashered as well, including the underside of the spout. Again, the underside of the spout needs to have the most water. So a full kettle to kasher the inside wall here, and maybe even another full kettle, or at that point it might be full, to kind of splash the water up over here. If the kettle isn't full, it's going to be hard to get this area over here. All right, now we're going to continue with kashuring the countertops. We filled our kettle, and it's going to start boiling now. We have another kettle here that was boiling and it's stopped. That's going to come to again a boil in a minute. Let's make our counters ready for kashuring. So first, everything has to be checked. You have to be cleaned. Obviously, the whole counter was cleaned already. When you check that there was no residue on the counter, a quick feel over to make sure that nothing is there. Then, very important, towels. Why are towels important? Because the cabinets of your kitchen do not like water. And they certainly don't like boiling water. And the best way to ruin your cabinets and your drawers is to pour boiling water all over them. So I suggest getting a couple of bath towels and covering the area like this. And your cabinets will thank you. Okay. This water is boiled. Make sure the water came to a full and rolling boil, and then we're going to pour the water on the counter. Remember, as we discussed earlier, the kashuring is effectuated at point of impact. The place where the water hits the counter, that is kashuring. And again, you have a few inches, maybe 3 inches, maybe 4 inches for every pour. The space where it hits, and then maybe an inch, inch and a half on both sides of that, that should be considered to be kashuring. Actually, you shouldn't put it down, you should hold the pot in your hand. Steady motion, front to back. Careful not to spill it on yourself. Alright? Steady front to back motion. All this was kashured. Then throw the towels up and keep the rest of the water. And this counter is kashured.